Okay, let's just dive right in and tackle a massive societal lie. From the very first time we enter the workforce, we're sold this highly specific narrative, right? The idea that higher income automatically equals wealth. We're told that the single answer to all of our financial problems is to just hustle harder, secure that promotion, and land the huge raise. The assumption is that once that big paycheck finally hits your bank account, financial peace of mind is just going to magically follow. But what actually happens when you reach that mountaintop? Today in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why a bigger paycheck absolutely will not automatically fix your finances and what actually will.
So you've been waiting for that raise. You put in the crazy extra hours, you took on way more responsibility. Maybe you even got it recently and you went out and celebrated. But then you look at your bank account a few months down the line and it looks exactly the same. Where on earth did it go? Well, here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody in HR is ever going to tell you. Handing someone who is bad at managing money a larger sum of money doesn't make them wealthy. It just makes their financial mistakes way more expensive.
All right, let's get into Section 1, the raise illusion.
This whole thing starts with a really dangerous myth, the assumption that higher income somehow equals wealth. And this is the ultimate trap of the rise illusion. We see doctors or corporate executives pulling in massive salaries, and we just automatically label them as rich. But you know, wealth and income are two entirely different concepts. Income is simply the money you bring home today to pay your bills. Wealth, on the other hand, is the money that actually sticks around for tomorrow. You can have a staggeringly high income and absolutely zero wealth. It happens all the time.
Moving right along to Section 2, the lifestyle treadmill.
Okay, so there's this psychological trap that pretty much all of us fall into at some point, and it's called lifestyle inflation. Basically, it's when your expenses rise at the exact same rate your income increases. And look, it's totally human nature. The second we get a raise, we immediately think, hey, I worked hard, I deserve a reward. So every extra dollar earned is instantly assigned to, a slightly better dinner, a nicer apartment, or switching to organic groceries. Suddenly, that huge raise feels like it completely evaporated, mostly because your baseline for what you consider normal just got a whole lot more expensive.
Let's put some real-world math to this. Imagine you absolutely crush it at work and you get a fantastic $10,000 raise. You decide to celebrate by immediately financing a brand new car. And guess what? The payments and the premium insurance on that shiny new car end up costing you exactly $10,000 more a year than your old one. So, what's your net change in wealth? Absolute zero. Sure, you feel richer because you're sitting on heated leather seats, but structurally speaking, your net worth hasn't moved a single inch.
And that perfectly shows why income alone is quite literally a treadmill. If your expenses go up every single time your income goes up, they just cancel each other out. You're running incredibly fast just to stay in the exact same place. You're sweating, you're stressed out, your job title is definitely fancier, but financially speaking, you are completely stationary.
Which brings us to Section 3, earning versus keeping. So how do we actually jump off that treadmill? Well, the crucial point is realizing that your personal finances operate exactly like a business. Think about top-line revenue, which is your earning, versus bottom-line profit, which is what you're actually keeping. In the corporate world, a company could boast $1 billion in revenue, right? But if they have $1.01 billion in operating expenses, they're literally going bankrupt. Personal finance is the exact same thing. Earning more is just vanity revenue to impress your friends. Keeping more is your actual sanity and your true profit. I really want this foundational truth to sink in for a second. It is not what you make, it is what you keep. This right here is what separates the truly wealthy from the people who just look wealthy. We have to permanently shift our mindset away from obsessing over our gross salary. When someone asks you, what do you make? The real question you should be aggressively calculating in your head is, what do I actually keep?
Let's move on to the actual mechanics in Section 4, the 3 wealth levers.
If you want to actually build wealth, you only have 3 levers at your disposal to escape that brutal paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Number 1, your income. Number 2, your expenses. And number 3, your investment rate. That is it. There is no secret 4th lever hidden somewhere. This is the entire control board for your financial life, and your only job is to figure out how to pull them in the right direction.
Now, let's think about the tension between these levers. Imagine every single dollar you earn is sliced up like a pie. Let's say your living expenses take up a hefty 60% of that dollar. Your discretionary spending takes 20%, and your investments take that last 20%. Notice how these interact with each other. If you make the tough choice to aggressively pull down that 60% living expenses lever, maybe by downsizing your apartment or driving a reliable, older car, that money doesn't just disappear.
It directly and powerfully pushes your investment lever up.
Now for the fun part. Section 5. Rich on a spreadsheet.
Let's take all this theory and look at what rich actually looks like on paper. Take a high earner pulling in an impressive $150K a year, but their expenses, the fancy mortgage, the leased luxury cars, the premium vacations, those total $145K. So their wealth kept, their actual profit at the end of the year, is a measly $5,000. Now contrast that with a moderate earner. They make $80K, which is almost half as much, but their expenses are tightly controlled at $50K. Their wealth kept is a massive $30K.
The shock factor here is honestly massive. You've got the high earner sitting way down at a tiny $5K in profit, while the moderate earner is towering over them at $30K. The person making nearly half the income is successfully generating 6 times the actual wealth. It proves that a moderate earner with a high savings rate easily, effortlessly, beats a high earner who is drowning in lifestyle inflation. One person looks rich on Instagram, but the other person is actually rich on a spreadsheet.
So, to wrap up this explainer, wealth is the gap you create and invest. That's it. Real wealth isn't magic. It is mechanically generated in the empty space between your income lever and your expense lever. The wider you can make that gap by getting your lifestyle under control, and the more aggressively you pump the contents of that gap into investments, the wealthier you'll become.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to really chew on. The next time you get a raise, are you going to immediately upgrade your lifestyle? Or will you use that money to upgrade your net worth? The choice is entirely yours. You can absolutely keep buying nicer things just to run a little bit faster on the treadmill. Or you can finally pull that investment lever, widen the gap, and start building some real financial freedom. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.